Welcome to Leehalot podcast, a space for Jewish women to share the story behind the spark, how they encountered their inner light, nurtured it, and found the courage to let it illuminate the world. This is your space to rise, to shine, and to bring your unique light into the world. Welcome to the Leehalot podcast, a space where we meet inspiring Jewish women and listen to their stories, their journeys, and the light they share with the world. Today, I'm honored to welcome Shai Elbracht. Many of you know her as the founder of Fit with Shai, empowering women through fitness and wellness. But what makes her so special is that also Hashem gave her a beautiful voice, a voice she uses not only to elevate the Shabbos table, but also to advocate for Am Yisrael with strength, courage, and love. Shai, welcome to our podcast. I'm very happy to have you today. How are you doing?
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I am amazing. Thank God.
Baruch Hashem. Where are you right now? Please describe us a little bit where you are.
Where? Well, right now we live in our homestead. We actually live an hour from the nearest Jewish community. We decided to move out in the quiet, get goats and chickens and land.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
In the countryside.
we're in the countryside. We moved here about 4 years ago, and we drive the kids to school every day, an hour and 20 minutes in traffic.
Wow, Baruch
Yeah.
Hashem. They go to a Jewish day school?
Yeah, of course.
We're okay. Oh, wait. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You,
Yes, that's where we are. We're in this like lovely oasis. It's really nice.
that's so nice. Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
Can you tell us where you grew up? What is your story?
Growing up, yeah. So I grew up in Baltimore, and my father is a chazan, which is a cantor, and my mom was an amazing. She's actually an estheticianist, so she does like facials and face stuff. Um, And I grew up in a wonderfully loving home. My parents were an amazing example of, a couple that's connected and loves each other. Um, I went to Beis Yaakov, an all girls religious school, growing up. And then I got married super young. I got married at 19, got engaged at 18. Um, and that is where the story begins. But I feel like that's only where the story like begins. My life really started when I met my husband.
Baruch Hashem. Your life started when you met your husband. So you grew up in a family where the Jewish spirituality was very strong. You went to a day school that was an only girl day school. And but you saw spirituality and physicality at home. For your mom, beauty was very important. Do
Yeah.
you come from a Ashkenazi or a Sephardi family?
Ashkenazi.
Ashkenazi.
Very Ashkenazi.
Your parents, your parents arrived in the U.S. or they were born in the U.S.?
No, both my parents were born in Israel. My mother's father was a Holocaust survivor. He has an incredible story when he was, I think, 11 to 13, somewhere, or 13 to 15. He was in Poland and they had land and I think they farmed wheat. There was some sort of farming of something. And when the Nazis came to Poland, everyone started to be rounded up into ghettos. So his parents paid their neighbor to build or just dig a hole under his barn. And that's where my grandfather, his parents, his sister, his cousins, his aunt, uncle, like a bunch of his family hid underground for 2 years. They were underground, just absolutely unreal. And how the kids would have to go to all different kinds of bakeries so no one would be suspicious that they had an extra 15 people that they're trying to feed. and they would sneak the bread in at night. And it was just incredible. For my grandfather's 80th birthday, my mother and her brother surprised him by bringing in his friend that saved him. So the family that saved him, the young boy, was best friends with my grandfather, and he would help bring the bread. And at his 80th birthday, he came, and it was like just so emotional.
I imagine I want to cry just listening to that.
Yeah, it's incredible.
He brought him to Israel. Your grandfather was in Israel?
He well, the man lived in Poland. He just came in to see my grandfather for his birthday, came for a trip.
That is so special. So special. And I'm hearing also, it's interesting that 4 years ago you decided to go to the country and to live in a farm. That is where that is the place where your family was able to survive.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that without, I don't know if it was willingly that you did that or consciously or not, but sometimes we just reproduce and we reignite the flame from our ancestors without even realizing that we're taking
Yeah.
that path.
Yeah, it funny because my story was my husband always said, I met him and he was like, "Oh, we have to move to the country." And I'm like, "Never. We're a religious family. We're not going and living nowhere with no kosher grocery store, no shul, no nothing. Like, don't even talk to me about it." And so we were married for 10 years, and finally after 10 years, COVID hit.
Yeah.
And I started to realize, I was like, wait a minute, I basically live like I live on a country, just in a city. Because what do? I work, I'm with my kids, I'm with my husband, I go to sleep, I work, I'm with like, what am I doing, And at that time, people weren't allowed to go to shul. And I'm like, look, we're all still Jewish and religious and we're not going to shul, you're praying, by yourself or with a friend or whatever. So I said, we'll try it. But if I hate it, we're
Well,
leaving. And I never want to leave the country. It's clearly in my DNA. There is a desire for that calm and quiet and nature that, maybe was given to me by my ancestors.
that's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. So you were telling us that during COVID you were working from home. What were you doing at that time? What after you got out of Beis Yaakov, what was your path?
Career. So I have a degree in business finance, and I thought I was going to work in the finance world and everything's going to be wonderful. And my husband looks at me and he's like, it's really not what you think it is. He said, when you're on a salary, you get paid less than minimum wage. Like if you divide it up, you're making $4 an hour. Um, the environment in these offices are awful. He's like, you think it's good, but it's not. And at the time, I started teaching fitness in the gym. I was a class instructor. Um, since I was 16. So I did it throughout high school. I would wake up at 5 a.m., get dressed, take my car, go teach my 6 a.m. class, run
Wow,
home, shower, and get to school by 8:30. That's how my high school was. I was really loved fitness. So he
admirable.
said, what?
That is admirable. It's very rare.
Yeah, yeah. I loved it, and I loved being able to teach it also, not only doing it, but being able to express my um, side of sharing and educating people, as you see on social media also. And that's a very big part of who I am, is sharing my knowledge.
Yeah.
Um, so, where was I?
So you started at 16 years old,
I
but you end with that degree in business finance,
Yes.
and
So
then
my husband was like, listen, you got to train. You're so good at it. It's amazing. And you'll end up making more per hour. Plus, you have the flexibility to have a life and your family. And I was like, oh, you know what? You're not wrong. I do love it. And I made a career out of it. I really created an amazing, Fit with Shai business. In Baltimore, I had a lot of clients that were coming to me in person, and I had some clients virtually. So I did a mix of both. So I can train women in Israel and Florida and New York, and I got to meet so many amazing, amazing women. Then I moved to the country and it went fully virtual. And then I added a fitness app, the Fit with Shai fitness app.
Mhm.
And then October 7th happened.
Exactly.
And
This
I,
time again, you are inside of the country. Something drastic happens to Am Yisrael, but this time the branch of your family doesn't go underneath the ground to survive. You decide to use the voice that probably your father passed along to you to stand up and be that fighter, I want to say, that soldier for
yeah, yeah, a real advocate for my Jewish people and the right thing. We were in Israel. We took our children for the first time ever to Israel during October 7th. We were there for Sukkot.
Wow.
Yeah, and we were there.
You
And
were
I remember just the fear when people in Israel at the time, we didn't know it was localized. We didn't know the army had gotten everybody. So everyone in Israel was looking behind their shoulders. You don't know if, Hamas got all the way in, if they are in Jerusalem, if the Arabs in the West Bank are going to start coming. It was so scary. It was so scary. And I was there with my kids. And even though it's my homeland, it's an unfamiliar homeland to me. So it was so challenging. Day one, everyone's like, wow, this is awful. Day two, I see some video that's an absolute lie and defending the horrendous massacre that just happened a day ago. And
felt, how did it feel? How did you feel about that?
I was enraged. I
Mm.
was absolutely enraged. You cannot have a society that is sharing lies, teaching the next generation lies. And I already had a platform at that time. And I said, it is my honor and also responsibility to share the truth. And my platform just completely 180'd. And I mean, all I talk about is Israel. All I talk about is the truth behind every lie. And that has really become my passion. But also, from doing that for the past 2 years, I have essentially killed my fitness business. So I no longer really train. I have like 3 clients left. Um, and I am just so passionate about my advocacy
Is
that
it
that's
choice that you switched because now you realize that your time and energy are more useful at that moment in this area? Or is it because of the haters and because of the fact that no one wants to to use that platform because you are so loud and you're
so I think it was an unintentional switch for me.
okay.
I just started to realize that because before I was promoting myself all the time, my fitness was my brand. So I think naturally people would contact me and I would get clients, and that's the way it works with marketing and advertising. I stopped marketing and advertising because all I'm doing is talking about Israel. And it was a transition. It was my baby. My business was my baby. I built it over years and years and years of trial and error and sharing and finding amazing clients and them finding me, to not being able to do that. That's so natural to me. And um, at the same time, I realized that it was time. I think it's time to move on to bigger, better, more serious things like the advocacy that I do. So it ended up being a blessing, a hard pill to swallow at the time, but a blessing.
Have you seen that in you when you grew up? Could you imagine becoming that advocate for Israel one day?
Absolutely. Yes. I always viewed myself as somebody that was extraordinary. I never thought I was a someone. I was always shy. And I didn't know it would end in advocacy, but I always knew that I was destined for great things. Yeah.
Baruch Hashem. Did your parents support that in you? Did they validate you in that when you grew up?
Yeah, they always did. They always believed my dreams and wants and wishes, and they never pushed it down. Yeah.
Hashem. Where do you draw your inner strength from, especially when speaking up and leading is not easy because the fact that you are in the front line in the media right now is probably a form of battle and you probably receive a lot of pain and wounds.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, people can be horrendously nasty to me, to my kids, to my husband. They will say horrible things. I've had a lot of awful messages.
Mm.
Um, I mean, it is who I am. It's who we are. I have to stand up for what is right and true. I think I wonder if it's the same when, hundreds of years ago when we were, forced to either convert or die by the sword, right? That seems nuts. And who wouldn't say, yeah, I'll convert, don't kill me? But
Yes.
there were so many Jews that said, absolutely not. Converting would be killing me. It's the same. I am not anything without my Judaism and, my identity. And it's the same here. I am not anything without sharing the truth about us, my people, my country. It's, it's,
How do
yeah,
you explain this search for truth, even though I have my idea? Because Torah is called Torah Emet, like the light is the truth. But how do you explain that it's so bothersome to you and to so many of us in Am Yisrael that we can't stand the lies and we're going to act up in some ways?
yeah. I think every people have that. You see it with everyone, with Democrats, Republicans. People can't not stand up for their personal beliefs. And if you're a Democrat and you truly believe in, I don't know, something, um, you see a lot of people voicing that belief. And same if you're a conservative or Republican, you need to voice it. So I think everybody has that in them. This is just mine. This is where I draw the line. There are things I can, okay, I don't agree, or I don't agree, but there is
Mm.
a big line crossed when you are sharing blood libels essentially that will hurt my people. Like it will have actions will come of this. So I have a responsibility and duty. And now more than ever, we have social media. 100, 200 years ago, when those same lies were coming out in Nazi Germany and before in, Europe, it was written on paper and you can't rebut it. There was nothing to say. And I feel privileged that today in 2025 I can say something and I have that voice and people can find my voice if they're interested in the truth. And that's amazing.
You been able to see the impact you had on Jewish people and also on non-Jewish people. Have you had people witnessing, like, can you share
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, a lot. I've had a lot of non-Jewish people say, I just want to thank you so much for your page because I am able to share your videos with my friends that are posting about this lie and that lie and that lie. And it's helped a lot of them come around and see, wait a minute, maybe I'm believing lies. And that to me is just everything. If I can impact 10 people, 20 people, 100 people, that's 100 less people that will
Exactly.
hate the Jews.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. And that's the problem because, as you said, we all have that in ourselves, that our belief become a reality and a truth. I was recently traveling in Europe, visiting different places in Italy and Greece, and I arrived in Livorno. Livorno is a place where Jewish people were saved from Inquisition, and during many centuries, the Jewish people were able to practice their Judaism. Even the Chida was. Went there and died there. His kever was there for many years. He left in 1960 back to Israel, and it was so sad to see that the community over there is not even able today to open the doors of the synagogue because of the pressure of Free Palestine movements around them. They are really literally surrounded by buildings, and in each building you can see 10, 20 flags of Free Palestine. And I spoke with some people over there, some non-Jewish people who were in the streets, because I was so surprised. We were able to enter any Bet Knesset all around Europe, but there we were not allowed to. And I spoke with some people in the street, and they told me, you understand that Livorno was destroyed by bombs in 1944, and Israel is doing the same thing to Gaza. And that's why, like, we have this support. We don't have anything against Jews, of course not, but we feel for that reality and for that truth. And we've been, and I was like so sad to see that those people think they are doing the right thing and
Yeah.
didn't really realize that this is just a lie. And of course, we spoke and we had a conversation. It's very difficult. I'm very admirative of your work because it's very difficult to bring someone to see the other side of the reality and to remove all the images that entered their souls and try to see, whoa, I've I've been living in a lie for 2 years almost. And
Yeah. Yeah. It's also, there are so many people you'll never convince. They're just, convincing is not a part of what's going to happen. And that's not the people I'm talking to. If you aren't interested in hearing the truth and you want to only know the lies, then I mean, that's your mental illness. And it really is mental illness. You also see the how crazy it is, how unintelligent and how following people are. They won't even listen. They know they're part of this group, and that's that. Like, they want an identity, they want a group, right? We want religion, we want peace. They want an identity, and right now Free Palestine is the fun,
I'm a purpose.
popular identity. Right now the Druze are being massacred in Syria.
Yeah.
Not a word from them. Not a word. And these are people that are saying, I can't see the babies die. I can't see the women die. There are Druze babies in hospitals that are being massacred by the Syrian government. Um,
Nobody thinks about it.
so you mean it's that you just can't stand when the Jews are doing it
Mhm.
for self defense. Okay. Like, just say it. Just say, I hate Jews. That's what it is. That's This
Yeah.
whole thing is nonsense, except for, I hate Jews. Just say it.
Wow. I know that you have this desire to share and educate, right? And through this media that we have right now, a Leehalot podcast and magazine, we also want to share and educate. How can you help Jewish women understand how they can take this responsibility? How it is part of their, we are the chosen people, we have that privilege, but there's no privilege without a responsibility that goes with it. What is our responsibility, and how can someone who doesn't necessarily have the same platform as you do can advocate for Israel today?
Yeah, that's amazing. I am a massive believer in educating yourself. You cannot live on this planet Earth and be a human being without knowing your history, your truth, life. And it starts with reading a book. I don't care if you're reading for 10 minutes a day, it will open up your brain and enlighten your world and the way you see things in ways that you don't think. Your 10 minutes isn't going to do anything. 10 minutes is not, I promise it is. Open up a history book, go to World War One, then read World War Two, then read about others. Like, learn. It is your responsibility, not only as a Jew, because Judaism is massive in learning. We have to learn. You need to know. But also in life, we need it so badly. And on top of that, do the same thing for Judaism. How many women grew up as religious Jews in Beis Yaakov and don't actually know why they're doing anything? They just, I think I heard in third grade, I do this because of this. It is your responsibility as an adult. Every day, you learn for 10 minutes. Open up the Rambam, read the Rambam, learn something, push yourself. This is our responsibility. And I am like a huge believer in it. It will impact your life the most of almost anything.
Beautiful. Once we educated ourselves, once we get to know the history, once we get to connect to our very strong Torah, and what do we do with that? How can we manifest our support? How can we act?
Yeah, that's great. I believe it doesn't matter how big or small your platform is, you share, you speak about it on your platform because you never know. Number two, I believe that the more knowledgeable you are, the more comfortable you are speaking about it, and you'll be able to have a conversation with someone you meet at the grocery store. You'll have information and ideas that will impact anybody. And there's so few Jews in the world. It is every single one of our responsibility to educate ourselves so that even if we impact one person, that could be 6 million added people that do not hate us or want to kill us. And that is impactful, even if it's one person. So it's just about learning, getting knowledgeable, and not being afraid of having conversations that you may be afraid of having because you don't have the knowledge right now.
True. When you are, for instance, like a person who, like a student, for instance, who is in an environment that is very hostile.
Yeah.
It happens here in the US, unfortunately, which we never would have thought. It happens in Latin America, it happens in Europe. It happens all around the world that Jewish women are just trying to educate themselves to get a career. They're in the middle of a university. They're not allowed to sit, to come into a classroom. Sometimes they have to learn remotely. What would you advise them to do in order to be able to speak up, or just to be that Jew that will impact the world? What can you do in this type of system?
Wow. I mean, I personally, I don't believe in force. I don't believe in doing anything by force. I think you can join groups that, either a Zionist group or, go to the Chabad in school. And that's where you can learn a little bit more. You can get educated. You can feel comfortable. But I don't believe in going to class and wearing a shirt that says, I stand with Israel.
Yeah.
I don't believe in pushing it in people's faces. I don't believe in being aggressive about it. Go and get your education, go learn, get a job, join the workforce, and make an impact that way. I'm not somebody that's going to stand up in the middle of class and, you know, do anything. I don't think that's the right way. There
Okay.
needs to be a compromise between being strong and being appropriate.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. And plus, I feel also a lot of people are inspired by the way a Jew behaves. I think the fact that we have been putting the Derech Eretz, Kadma Torah, before even like the learning of Torah, knowing how to behave, knowing how to be a mensch, knowing how to be with other people, sometimes just that being yourself, living the life of a Jew, somehow it already is inspiring, and it intricates people because unfortunately the people who are um, uh, who want to belong to the other side, let's go
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
or very aggressive and using violence and using codes of barbarian civilizations. So I feel like we even stand out even more by being a Jew and learning how to be a Jew. And here our audience maybe is not familiar with the Pirkei Avot or Ochot Tzadikim, but the truth is that those are very interesting texts to read also,
Yeah.
and be able to understand that a Jew is called a light to the nation, because one of our purpose in life, Hashem created us to really represent him and to somehow like represent what a good human being should be. So I feel like also if we are in such a situation, as you said, do not use the same codes as they use, but be yourself. Be that good person, be that good Jew, be that mensch, behave with dignity, and join groups that will definitely act this way.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I agree. Um, yeah. There needs to be a demeanor that is appropriate, like you said, like kind, good. That's where it needs to come from with the strength, it that there needs to be that balance because it can't be somebody that's just being stepped on and taking it because like we're appropriate. If something happens, you should stand up for yourself. It doesn't mean you're flailing your arms and yelling and hitting people, but you are in a proper Jewish demeanor standing up for yourself and saying, no, this is wrong, right? Terrorism is wrong. Murdering people is wrong. You say that in an appropriate way. Yeah.
Baruch Hashem. How does your family deal with the work that you're doing now? Because as you said, it impacts your kids, your husband.
Yeah.
Do all your kids follow your path and are advocates also? Do you teach them that value? How did it impacted your private life?
Yeah. I think it was wonderful. My kids learned how important Israel is and how important it is to speak up for the truth and that you don't stay silent.
Mhm.
Um, they also see that, you're not hysterical and doing crazy things. But it also, on the negative side, it's also a really hard for me to let go, right? So if I start scrolling and start seeing the videos, I go, oh, I need to go make a video. And I have been working on that within the past 2 years, but something I still have room to work on, like not allowing it to take up all of my space. It needs to have its place. When the kids are in camp, that's the space. And when they're home, it needs to go away. So that's tough.
That's a beautiful lesson for us mothers also, that we have to set healthy boundaries between what is passionating us and our work, sometimes our fights, and also giving our kids the space they need to nurture them, to be that loving mother, and enjoy that silent countryside where you are,
Yeah.
able to connect
Yeah.
the nature and be there for them. It must not be easy.
It's not. It's not. Because also I find I'll put my phone in my room and then inevitably we need the phone for something, right? It's like, "Oh, let me look this up," or "Let me take a video of this," or "I want to put music on." And I'm like, "Ah, just leave it in the room," like, because
Uh,
once it's out, you know. But yeah.
I once received that working for the community, you're also very busy at moments before Shkia,
Yeah.
for instance, when women need to go to the mikvah and they have a question, or so I invested in another phone, and it's a smart, it's not a smartphone, it's a kosher phone with restrictions, so that I try to keep this one, but sometimes, again, my iPhone comes back in force because we need the browser, we need this, we need
Oh,
or something. I really hear that, but it's a very good moment to think about, like, what do I want, how do I want to give myself, and also, like, I feel one thing that we can learn, not everybody has your platform. You said, like, even if you have a small platform, but the truth is that even if you don't have a platform on social media, you still have your circle of influence, which is yourself, your husband, your kids, your friends, and we have the power to share with them and to be that light for them also. So
yeah,
yeah, for that we need to protect, also to create a healthy boundary around those people.
yeah, yeah.
Tell me, Shai, what's next for you? Any projects, hopes, dreams you're excited to share with us today?
Um, what is next? We never know what's next. God knows, man plans. I would like to be speaking a lot more on behalf of the Jewish people publicly versus just on social media. So I think public speaking is in my future. More I have a difficult time with the work life balance, because I would like to push myself more and be more of an advocate outside of my phone, and my page. But that takes time and effort, and it means being away from the kids. So it's very difficult. I would like some version of that, but I prioritize my family. Like, my family always comes first. So we'll see.
Bezrat Hashem, Bezrat Hashem. And how can us at Leehalot, in this community of women around the world, in Spanish, English, and French, and soon Bezrat Hashem maybe in Ivrit, how
Yeah.
can we support you?
Oh my goodness. Um, on social media, algorithm is king. You like, you comment, and you share every video you see. And that helps the algorithm so that more people will see it. And the more people outside of our bubble see it, the better. Of course, I'm speaking to people that agree with me, but I also want to reach people that need to hear it. And
Yes,
that's really important. And the way you do that is by interacting with my videos. If you've been a long time follower and you don't normally like things or comment, like, push yourself to do that. It impacts the video and will help get my message out.
Bezrat Hashem,
Yeah.
Bezrat Hashem. Shai, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your heart so openly, your journey, your strength, your voice, your passion in every sense are a beautiful inspiration. May you continue to uplift and empower Jewish women everywhere, and may we all remember the power of our own voice to shine light into the world. Thank you.
Amen. So nice. Thank you.